Why? Hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Mr. Doggo53, and welcome back to Hearts Barn for the New Order as Mexico. Now, last time we were here together, we worked a lot on some general economic reform stuff. Now we're working on even more economic reform stuff. Meanwhile, we're getting to, I think, an endpoint with strike. I say that, and we might be stuck here forever, much longer. But we'll wait and see. Anyway. It's time to keep on going. Mobilize the DFS just in case. See if we can do a useful reshuffle. In every government, there exists some sort of inefficiency, something that uses too many resources to justify the outputs it delivers. And that is not the exception for Mexico. With a massive overhaul of the structure, getting rid of unnecessary and redundant positions, we will end with many more resources to work with. Now, if those redundant positions were held by party members with a more conservative leanings, that would be a welcome coincidence. There we go. We're going to get more political power. Well, we get enough that I think we can go ahead and be able to click this soon enough. Poland. Alright, let's do some necessary increases while we're here. Implementing social welfare and building public infrastructure doesn't come without added expenses. To maintain a balanced budget, we must also increase our income. Mexico's historically low taxes give example of raise funds, though through higher rates, broad tariffs, or sharpening their progressivism. Raising taxes is never a simple process, and the groups or people that the taxes affect rarely enjoy it. From the strongest corporations to a simple farmer, tariffs will hit their means and their confidence. Public discontent is to be expected and might cause issues in the short term, but ultimately the projects they enable will provide the nation with long-term stability. Alright, let's get this clicked. The man's side of the assortment of papers filled the space. His coffee long cold by how long he had worked. At work he'd been now. Honestly. Hey Alejandro, did you hear about the new guy here? He wouldn't actually mind talking with someone almost opposite on the spectrum of social interaction with him. No. Didn't know we were hiring. The voice that required, at the very least, 2 coffees to handle spoke to him. Really? I would think Madrazo being part of a team would be... It was interrupted by the listener catching himself before falling out of a chair. He made a quick turn to his colleague. Madrazo? Why would he... Not the president, a distant relative. Social Butterfly pulled his best Madrazo impression of cutting people off and inadvertently ticking them off through his actions as he continued on. From Tabasco, too. Apparently he held a position just like ours, and the glare being directed at him stopped the train. A speech. Another coffee? It slightly listened. The airhead winced at how it didn't work as usual before going to the next step. Lunch tomorrow? The glare fell, along with a sigh from the transportation bureaucrat that only needed a cold cup of coffee to keep him company for the day. The day after tomorrow, I'll be having lunch with someone else tomorrow. He ignored the hurried goodbye from his coworker, opening his notepad in the process while writing down a note. Buy gifts, meet Madrazo, buy him dinner, equals promotion. Corrosion will increase and loyalty will increase. Well, we're doing pretty well all around there. Really? Yeah, look at that. Despite the almost tripled presence of DFS operatives, the situation in Chihuahua continues to deteriorate. Dissolution of local powers has rendered state authorities nearly powerless. Look at that. Yeah. The resources allocated are insufficient to be used effectively in these conditions. We originally require additional resources and strategic guidance to address the escalating situation. Local Kikis are taking matters in their own hands and have been harassing peasant communities with private gangs and uncoordinated hunts for GPG. Local law enforcement has been repeatedly rooted in confrontations, utterly incapable of policing the situation. Feuds and purges between party officials continue. The state branch of the PRI is evaporating? ? Attempts to contain the GPG have utterly failed. The terrorist movement has increased exponentially, thriving off the assaults on landlords and is becoming bolder. Local forces are capable of. Echeverria turned his eyes away from Barris's reports with scowl. Why was everyone in that damn state an imbecile? Did not see the red flood on their doorstep? Hopefully the new governor would bring the bickering fools into line. Now, how to present this to the president? Isn't that the question? Well, intimidate some union members. I might as well. Bring empathy to everyone. Things by 8, but then we can do this and the off-kilter presidential portrait of Carlos A. Madrazo stared down the ransacked police station. With a few blows of a hammer, Jacobo Jamiz gave it a makeshift companion, a photo of former governor Proxenas Guinero Duran, to survey the GPG's handiwork. He took a step back, threw a sloppy salute, and cried, "To the heroes of Mexico's socialist revolution." His brother Arturo laughed, but Salvador Gaitan had no time for such games. Pigs took most of the guns and ammo with them. Ever since Gaitan grinned when he heard about another round of cheers outside. But since we liberated the town without firing a shot, I suppose we're still coming out ahead. Certainly in terms of recruits, said Jacob, before planting a noisy kiss on Madrazo's painted lips. For every farmer the Kikis hang, we tame 10 guerrillas and 100 sympathizers. Tor pounded a paperweight in the chief's old desk. After receiving his comrade's startled eyes, he began. And that's why it's time to think bigger. Our columns can raid town after town, but they're growing so large we can scarcely feed them when we convene. Chihuahua's poised to erupt. We need to fan out to its corners, organize, prepare, and rally the people for the mass uprising that will topple the broken government. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Salvador nodded, then Gaitan. One tear streamed down Arturo's dusty face, and then another, then a flood. He managed to choke out. The next time we're together, it will be a free land. Under Madrazo's fiery eyes, 3 companions embraced. Let's do the 7 wonders of Mexico. With the revenue streams of our new taxes flowing in, Madrazo feels it is time to put the funding towards good use. Start the creation of several projects much grander than previously conceived, all to elevate the ones who truly made Mexico, the working man. Long before the Mayans and Aztecs created their wonders, still standing to this day, and now is the chance to put up our own permanent markers. It's not the first time that the proposal saw daylight. It was a technocratic bulk that brought the idea of a graduated income tax to Congress back in '61. It was killed and shuttered in the back as just another failed bill. Now it had been refurbished, and pre-president Jesus Reyes Aroles carried the task of not letting it suffer the same fate twice, lest it create an embarrassment for His Excellency's administration. Though if it did fail, it would not be from lack of trying. In one hand, he carried the phone that went through call after call, securing one more vote from the technocrats, and then followed by another one. In the other hand, he was holding up the letters with less inclined parts of a nation that pleaded to not continue with the bill. They did not just stop at letters. He was on the phone almost all at almost all hours was someone he was convincing, or someone who was trying to convince him. Although the idea of supplementing the tax with tariffs did seem to be a common theme coming from those who opposed the idea. So we lose political power either way. Well, let's say time's up, rich man. You have to pay your dues. Tonight, some union members. The horde of economists, led by Secretary Mena, arrived at the table, placing down the draft that had even the support and signature of former President Aleman, along with virtually every notable businessman in Mexico. It's just one minuscule, really, problem that was hidden in the words as airlies come through it all. Sure, the tax target those of highest income, having due diligence and making them pay their fair share of the nation, but, strangely, every exception seemed to line up to pardon their own wealth. With all the exceptions counted up, it would have almost no real impact. Mena, Aleman, everyone who signed on created something that would keep the heat off them while pointing the finger at those who weren't a part of the bill. Now, this would be an effective tax on those who had not signed, while also calming the backlash to cool lovers, but this wasn't what Madrazo wanted. We are going to follow Madrazo's intentions, which fucking tanks our industrialist loyalty. My god. Yeah, we can get it back. Probably. Maybe. Maybe not. Yeah, we got 5 out of 6 in the party loyal to us. You know? How's that do? How's that help our economy? Helps us pretty well, actually. Let's do the Wrath of the Economists. There currently exist 2 entire worldviews of Mexico's economy. One behind Madrazo's idealism, and the other behind Mena's pragmatism. Nevertheless, an open break between Madrazo and Mena would be disastrous, being incredibly disruptive to the Mexican miracle that funds our future. To address any tensions, Madrazo has called a meeting with Mena to discuss the matter in a civil and concise fashion. Emilio believed that an employee's appearance should reflect the prestige of the institution where he's employed. As a member of the Guadalajara International Airport help desk, Emilio with a human face of grand enterprise. A smile as wide and pristine as his freshly on shirt, he greeted each client with the dignity that fit his station. When Emilio started working there, Guadalajara's airport was no more than a flat concrete plain surrounded by a few simple, unassuming buildings. A complete complex, totally unbecoming of a growing metropolitan area. Over the past years, Emilio watched the previously undersized and unsafe airport was transformed by titanic new structures. Great blocks of steel and glass now rose from the ground like beacons of modernity. Once complete, the new airport connected itself to the broad metropolitan area via road and rail. Now even those from the working class neighborhoods of Guadalajara could easily access the airport and, therefore, the rest of the country. Emilio internally sneered as a woman approached his desk. He noted her wrinkled shirt and worn shoes. Soon his beautiful cathedral of aviation would be filled with her type. Those who might stain the very air with their unsophistication. Of course, if they didn't come, who would ride those planes? Who would behold the beautiful architecture? And for whose benefit did Emilio smile? Good morning, ma'am. How may I assist you today? The Nationalist Bloc. Are you kidding me? These men sat bolt upright in one of the chairs that lined the hallway outside Madrazo's office. Every tap of his heel on the parquet floor jostled the little briefcase on his lap, full of reports on the status of the nation's economy. The appointed time arrived, and Mena entered the president's lair. Madrazo and Mena exchanged greetings. He drew the stack of papers from his briefcase and carefully arranged them in a grand mosaic on the desk. The image was clear. Domestic spending was up across the board, while foreign investment flagged. National reserves of dollar and yen were running dry, and anyone knew that the peso wasn't worth what the fixed exchange rates claimed. Madrazo cocked back his head. And? Mena recoiled as if he'd been struck. Mr. President, if this continues, it could result in complete reversal of the past 25 years of growth. If my only ambition was to watch the past repeat itself, I would have let Ordaz take the presidency. If your only plan is to shackle our fate to the empires on our doorstep, then I suggest you get the hell out of my office. Mena opened his mouth as if to speak, then clamped it shut. He gathered his papers and retreated back to his office. Mena wondered if his career would last through the year. And he said warns of political risk emanating from the federal district, and Robles won't be sleeping tonight. Washington is calling. Well, I mean, it's going to get back up soon, so I'm not that worried. It's up to the growth. Let's get working under the hood. If there's one thing the Mexican people have made clear, it's their desire for change. Since the fall of the Porfiriato in 1911, countless revolutionaries have come and gone. Some revered as heroes, others villains. After many years of this dichotomy, the people finally saw it right to give us the power to us. In the eyes of most, it is clear we have yet to live up to their standard. They have every right to believe that, given the failures of successive governments in agriculture, social policy, and economics, the institutional revolutionary party has become a rotten edifice, home to the most corrupt, various, and unscrupulous in Mexico. Ours is the party of oligarchs, the running dogs, regional machines, and an obnoxious force for malevolence for countless citizens. We have allowed the people to be manipulated by reactionaries and Bolsheviks. Filling the souls that we have left, we must search our souls and look for the successes of the past and solve out the priest's vision forevermore. Wait a little longer so we can... There we go. Another day started as Echeverria was on the ground in Chihuahua City. Along him, the newly appointed governor of state, Arnaldo Gutierrez Hernandez, as they strolled across the street of the city. The initial crisis had passed. PGF and DFS reinforcements had suppressed GPG activity, to the point where there were no more raids coming from the guerrillas. I have some time left there. While that was being dealt with, the new governor utilized the violence of the key cases during the immediate transition that preceded his appointment to discredit them. The worst offenders were thrown to prison. The rest quickly learned to quiet down as well. Now, Vidal progressive legislation was being swiftly worked on with the help of various officials. Land reforms making up the core of the upcoming proposals, all revealed on September 24th. Governor? Yes, Secretary? My sincerest congratulations to you. It's been a particularly hectic period, yet you have stepped up to the mantle and proved yourself admirably in the face of the opposition. Opponents that worked against us. Extend his hand towards Gutierrez. Thank you for your service to the revolution. The governor smiled, taking the hand in his own as he threw in his own 2 cents. Thankfully, the hard part's over. All that's left for us is paperwork. He could feel the sweat ooze through his every pores. This would be his burial place. Narrow, pitch black, hardly the room to sit nor stand. When they first locked him in it, he thought he was going to be cremated alive, but his captors had more insidious ideas. He'd smelled metal, rust, perhaps, or blood. A voice ricocheted off the walls, wherever they were in the darkness. Raul Gomez has already denounced you, but you remain loyal? Madrazo felt a tightness in his chest. The chamber seemed to close in on his haggard, emaciated body. I'm innocent. I did nothing with the papers. He felt You could hear the rumbling of a baton colliding with metal. The familiar drawl sound spurred hatred in his heart. And you were illegally detaining me on the basis of political disagreement. These were the same words Madrazo had repeated when they had asked, and sometimes when they hadn't. Just when he felt like he had to speak, to say something, not to lose his mind, to go mad. Madness. Why was he fooling himself? He wanted to call them all sorts of names, those fucking Alemanistas. Tell them how they were all wretched and how they would tear him to pieces, but with what? No hope. Javier Rojo Gomez had lost. These bastards had captured the party. Heinous men, odious men, cronyism, festering corruption in every state in the country from Baja to Chiapas. And the revolution, his greatest love, rotten with capital. But he knew he would get out. He could get out. He had to. Things would change. They had to. But change seems far off from a dark cell. Well, let's do one small step. Mexican political life has experienced a great constriction in the many years since the ascension of the PRI. In many ways, it has been a boon to the people, with very little reactionary wrangling from statewide opposition backed by the landlords or administrative sabotage by vengeful political partisans. Our party's dominance over the government has enabled it to also control the trade unions through an organization known as the Confederation of Mexican Workers. Confederation is a blight on the working man and the PRI, governed by a man who's a textbook example of all that is base, managerial, and self-serving in any organization. Fidel Velazquez has transformed what was once a grassroots trade union alliance into a de facto wing of the industrial organizational complex of Mexico, serving the bosses more often than any worker. If there's going to be any real reform in Mexico, we must begin whittling away at the edges of this great, corrupt behemoth. While we may not able to defeat men like Velazquez, we can verily send the CTM on a more productive path. Okay, we have the third aftermath. Are we going to be able to fucking end this? After this. Madrazo stepped up to the lectern, eschewing any notes. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at that real quick. He'd only briefly skimmed over a summary of his remarks while riding the state limousine. The faculty and the student body of the Workers' University of Mexico sat in the auditorium, with many having to resort to mere standing room. The double doors at the end of the main aisle had been kept ajar, even more eager listeners queued right down the corridor and beyond. Fitting, really, as the muse of Madrazo's ode to what was the very head of the university, who sat discreetly off stage in the wings. There's much more to be said than what I can deliver in words alone. You, the students of this fine institution, know him as Vicente Lombardo Toledano. I know him as a friend. Applause rang through the auditorium. A few students on the mezzanine waved Carnista slogans. It is he who fought for the rights of Mexican workers and the rights of labor. Even his old age, Senor Toledano remains committed to the working class and the cause of unionism. I'm proud to call him a comrade in arms. Toledano, caked in makeup, to hide his infirmary, stepped onto stage to vigorous applause. The press corps snapped flattering photographs of the President, the former Secretary General of the CTM, in an embrace. The current Secretary General, meanwhile, was not so impressed. Don Fidel Velazquez saw the pictures on the front page of La República a few days later from the comfort of his office. The man whom he'd excommunicated from the trade union movement, the Bolshevik pig, practically on the verge of death anyway, had somehow been rehabilitated. By the President, no less. Don Fidel tore the newspaper to shreds. Oh, we can do some new proyectos. So the Yucatan. Can't do the Cancun project. Which kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie. But let's do that. Was it Cancun or Yucatan, west and northeast? I do a new steel plant. I think the steel plant works. Was it the west? Yeah, the west. Let's do a new... Nah, we can only do international airports. Let's do that. Let's see if we can finalize the deal. The AMM representative leaned back in his chair, the exhausting meeting, exchanging his stamina for tangible results. Tangible results won over the course of debates and arguments with FSS representative amounted a small stack of papers. The stack was at the moment solely a draft deal for VMM to join CNOP. Yet even with all the benefits he argued for and won got added to the deal, many were still not accepted. The representative was sure of it. Going even further, the representative thought deeper as he skimmed the document once more. The movement had a solid chance of rejecting this in the vote. His concerns were relayed to his counterpart, and the virus of thought spread to him as well. It took half a minute, but the FSS representative spoke up, ending silence. Better pay or some other condition could be added. I'll do this just in case. Alright, well, we got the big choice. That's not really much of a choice. I already know I'm going to whip corruption. But, yeah. It's a great irony that some causes' greatest warriors were previously consummate representatives of what they fight against. Our president was a victim of Byzantine scheme to implicate him in a fraudulent migrant card program, briefly jailing him. Corruption is the greatest hypocrisy for its use of public wealth for the personal enrichment, often using the very measure to counteract corruption to attack those who expose it. Carlos Madrazo and his allies understand this all too well and know that all anti-corruption measures must be aimed not only at the small-time local tax collector, but at the men who roam the halls of Chamber of Deputies or reside in the upper echelons of the PRI itself. Shit! Hector spat through clenched teeth. Not this drawer. He slammed it shut and the filing cabinet rattled. Next one up. Where the fuck is that fire? Ramon had already been charged. For all Hector knew, he was next. Surely got him for meddling Madrazo's crop diversification scheme, and not the tractor program, but one wrong word from Ramon and his career. His life was over. Hector yanked open another drawer. There. He snatched the folder out of a drawer and snapped it down on the desk. The pages inside were stained with guilt. Any lead that investigator would want to follow was here, stamped in black ink on the ivory paper. His breath grew shorter and shallower. He had to do something. He flipped through the report, removing the offending pages and then tucking them into his leather briefcase. Maybe he could alter them, hide the leaks. It was a miracle worker with liquid paper. If that failed, he could burn them. Hector bored his head into his hands, then let it fall onto his desk with a thud. He had bribed Ramon right there with the pesos in the envelope. Would he talk? What if he offered him a plea deal? He didn't doubt for a second that Ramon would throw him under the bus if it meant saving his own wrinkled skin from prison. All Hector could do was wait and hope. Just lose last resort. Origami's telephone receivers jammed ear to ear, thought about how much easier this would be in person. But such was the price of success. As Brother Jacobo was speaking, recounting the GPG's growing sway in the south. Recruitment efforts have been going almost as strong as Salvador Gaitan's effort in the north, without the hassle of recurring clashes with Jacobo, Salvador, I'm pleased with your progress. I have something more urgent to reply. The new governor, Gutierrez Hernandez, has prepared a raft of reforms. Education, banking, taxation, even land. My source couldn't confirm it, but there may be pardons for GPG members. All to be put forward by Madrazo's little Chihuahuan puppet on the 24th of September. That's incredible news, Arturo. We've done it! We won at last, and Arturo's face contorted as he bellowed into the phone. No, we have not! Years ago, decades ago, that might have been enough. But now we know the party you were dealing with. It's just another cunning trap as we stand on the cusp of freedom for the working people of Chihuahua. Pale Shadow would trick us in laying down our arms when we at last have the bastards in our sights. No, we strike first and give Mexico the socialist revolution it deserves. Arturo's chest was heaving, and for the moment all he heard was his ragged breath. Then the receiver cracked life with Gaetan's weary voice. You're right, Arturo. But there's just no way we'll be ready by the 24th. We barely arm a quarter of our supporters. Then I'll take the guns we need. I'll assault Madeira Barrack on the 23rd. Launch a revolution at dawn. Said Arturo's sleepless eyes on the ragged cover of guerrilla warfare. There's no going back. Alright. Let's do the great winnowing. The sad fact when an organization takes charge of a country, leading it with diligence and adroit statesmanship, hangers-on, landlords, and other exploiters latch onto that party like parasites. These men abuse the record, people's trust, rob them openly, and tarnish the record of honest reformists. While this phenomenon is common everywhere from Turkey to China, to even prosperous superpowers like Japan, especially egregious in our own country. Land sale sheets are from top to bottom party membership list. Factories, too, are owned and operated by party members. Before our administration, this organization affiliation gave the powerful virtual immunity from any meaningful legal prosecution for the many abuses. But this state of affairs shall end. While the central position of our party in the administration of the nation's vital interests is necessary, it shall no longer be overseen by a shadowy and conceited elite. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pick our new research. There we go. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and leave things there. Thanks always for watching, again. Like, dislike. If you didn't, leave any comments, feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get, and I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check out my various links on the screen box below. Leave me comments, feedback down in the comment section below. I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. The sub button, notification bell, keep updated for these uploads as they come out. And I'm going to go ahead and leave things there. Thanks always for watching, gang. My name is Mr. Dogbot333, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye now.